We've all seen a plethora of videos on the Dream and Daquavis $100,000 manhunt, and I think we can all agree that as it is, it all seems pretty staged. But it's now gotten so much worse, and I think honestly these updates now confirm that the Daquavis and Dream duel was fake to begin with. So Daquavis has made a TikTok just over 12 hours ago, and within it he said that Dream is now trying to change the contract that they both originally agreed on.
Dream is trying to dodge our 1v1 manhunt for $100,000. But Dream is now trying to change the contract we originally agreed on.
The contract that they both agreed on to start with was firstly the PvP duel where Dream ended up on top, then the skills challenge where Daquavis came out on top, and they both agreed that if needed and it came down to a tiebreaker, they would complete a manhunt, and that would ultimately decide who gets the $100,000. Within this manhunt, they agreed that Dream would be the runner and Daquavis would be the hunter. They also came to an agreement that if Daquavis killed Dream in the first 10 minutes of the manhunt, they would reset and it wouldn't count. This was put into place to make the duel more interesting, and while some people might call this staged, it does make a lot of sense. If Dream died in the first 10 minutes, it would make a pretty worthless and boring video, but if you don't want your manhunts with your friends to be pointless on a laggy and expensive server, make sure you use my code on valixcloud.com, Blissolic 30 for 30% off any game server of your choice. My link will be in the description, and the 30% off discount lasts month to month, meaning you'll have it for the entire time you're subscribed on a server. And at the end of the day, this duel is for entertainment, so it makes sense. They also made a rule that Daquavis as the hunter gets infinite lives, whereas Dream will get only one life since he's the runner. But now Dream is trying to change the original contract so that if Dream dies before he goes into the nether, they will then restart the manhunt. If what Daquavis is saying is true, that is extremely scummy from Dream, but honestly this sounds like it's straight out of a movie. Like, who's going to believe that they both agreed to this contract and now all of a sudden Dream is going back on it? As I said, it is scummy if what Daquavis is saying is true, but the likelihood of going back on a contract just doesn't make sense to me. And as I've been saying from the beginning, this whole thing seems very staged. Like, let's look at the start for example. Dream was so confident at the very beginning that he would win both the first duel and then the second skills challenge. He was so sure that they wouldn't even need a tiebreaker, and now all of a sudden that it's needed, he's trying to change the contract to benefit him. It just seems so fake, straight out of a High School Musical. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next manhunt, Dream and Daquavis are sat there singing on a stage about how they're getting married in a few months, because that's how fake this seems. As I said, I think this TikTok is just to re-hype people, because less and less people are speaking of the duel recently, but now that Daquavis has made this contract, accusing Dream, again following this kind of plotline that Dream usually has, painting himself out as the villain, now everyone's gonna bash on Dream and say he's going back on the contract and trying to dodge Daquavis. But honestly, who knows? I wouldn't even be surprised if the manhunt does happen and Daquavis somehow wins. I mean, that way more people will talk about it, right? Honestly, who knows? Anyway, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll keep you all updated if anything else happens. Peace out for now.